everyone, my name is Rafal and I would like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. Today I would like to talk about gear, specifically about SpeedLights. And even though I've done similar video in the past, I've been receiving lately a lot of requests and emails and messages from you guys, and you specifically asking me why do I use SpeedLights for my headshot photography. And I would like to dive deep into this topic, and as I mentioned, this type of video was already done, but I've decided to expand it a little bit more and add a little bit more information, and hopefully I'll answer all your concerns and I'll explain you why I've decided to go with SpeedLights. But before we jump into this topic, I want to say a couple of things. First of all, doesn't matter what type of lighting you're using strobes, using SpeedLights, you're using constant light, or you're using natural light, as long as you're getting the results you're looking for, that's all what it's matter. So don't kind of get discouraged that you need specific type of lighting. As long as you get the results and you're happy with your work, it's all good. Second of all, I just want to say another important thing, that I'm not trying to discourage any other type of lighting, because I'm not gonna say that SpeedLights are better than strobes or better than the constant lighting. What I'm trying to say, and what I'm trying to kind of discuss here, why I really like work with SpeedLights and why I've decided to work with them, and why they're giving me what I need and what I'm looking for. So this is my, I would say, personal preferences, and I've been working with SpeedLights for over a decade, and I really like working with them because, as I mentioned before, they're giving me everything what I need. So let's jump into this topic and let's discuss this step by step. The reason number one I really like SpeedLights is the fact that they very inexpensive, and this is something extremely important, especially for photographers who are starting off and they don't have huge budget, or they don't have a lot of money to buy very expensive lighting. And SpeedLights can be alternative to get the lighting which will work for them, and it's gonna perform and it's gonna give them everything what they need. And I was in that position a decade ago. I didn't have a lot of money and I have to start somewhere, and I started with SpeedLights and I really fall in love with them, and till today they're giving me everything what I need. And even though I can't afford to buy expensive lighting, I really don't want to buy something which is over the top, because this other type of lighting would definitely make my life more convenient, but at the same time they would probably give me the same results what I'm getting right now. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've tried different type of lighting and I didn't really see much of a difference. The reason number two why I really like SpeedLights is the fact that they're very portable. And in my type of business, I do a lot of traveling, and a lot of my clients want me to come to their location. So SpeedLights are extremely convenient because I can pack them quickly in small bag and I'm ready to go. And I don't have to carry with me tons of equipment. Basically fits in very small bag. I'm just gonna put on my back and I'm ready to go. So that's something which is extremely convenient for me, and I really like that, because as I mentioned, I'm getting older and I don't really have energy to drag tons of equipment with me. So SpeedLights are just perfect for that. The next reason why I really like SpeedLights is the fact that you can set them up fairly quick. You really don't need some extension cords. You don't have to have power outputs, even though in these days most of strobes are powered by batteries. But back in the days when I started my headshot photography journey, most of strobes you have to have power outputs and you have to have some cables to drag this whole thing all over. And that was a huge problem, because especially when I was shooting corporate gigs, then with some kind of safety issues, I have to duct tape everything, so everything had to be safe, and there's a lot of issues with that, and that was extremely time consuming. So SpeedLights was really nice change, because I could be ready within minutes and I was ready to shoot and I was just ready to go. and as soon as I was done, I could pack my stuff fairly quick and I could just move on to my next photo shoot. So that was something which was extremely important. The next reason why I really like SpeedLights, now we're gonna get a little bit more technical, is that I can set up my SpeedLights to very low output power. And what that means, I can really easily mix my ambient light with my flashlight. And why do I really like that? The reason is, as I mentioned, I used to go, and I still do that, go to my clients, and sometimes they want to have some kind of cinematic type of images, and I could use their surroundings and their environment to create those type of images. And with strobes, that would be extremely difficult because the strobes are extremely powerful, and even if you set up your strobes to some lower power outputs, they still produce very strong light, and that pretty much was impossible to overcome. I would have to just do some things to dim the light, and that was just way too much work, and it was too much challenge for me to kind of make this work. With SpeedLights, it's much easier because you can set them up to very low output, and you are ready to go, and you can create, as I said, interesting images by mixing your ambient light with your flashlight, and you can use surroundings and your environment to create those images. And that was extremely convenient for me. How to do that, I'm gonna do another video. I just want to kind of tell you about this low power output when it comes to SpeedLights, because this is something which I value a lot, and that gives me another amazing tool to be creative and work in any environment. So let's talk a little bit about some myths about SpeedLights. So one of the biggest myths is the fact that you need a time to make sure that those lights recycle, right? So whenever you take a shot, you have to wait till your basically SpeedLight recharge and you can shoot again. So there's a couple of things which I want to kind of point it out. First of all, I never shoot headshot session where I had to take, I don't know, like 5 frames per second. The fact is that you want to slow down the process of taking your images. So you can repose your subject, you can change their position, you can work with different face expressions, and you needed this kind of time to make those changes. So pretty much, you know, if you slow down the process, you're gonna get better images. And on the top of that, you really don't want to just keep firing at your client because it's gonna be extremely uncomfortable. So you really don't need some kind of very extreme recycle time, because first of all, you really don't need that, and second of all, you have to do opposite. You want to slow down the process. Having said that, if you set up your SpeedLights to much lower power output, you can really shoot really fast, and the recycling time, it's never gonna be an issue. But at the same time, even if you, let's say, working with some older SpeedLights, which they're gonna need some recycling time, it's not gonna be big of an issue, because as I mentioned, you wanna slow down the entire process of shooting. The second myth, what I found, is that you're not able to basically shoot entire session on one, let's say, battery set. You're gonna drain the batteries really quick and it's gonna be over. So I've done some tests, and this is scientifically proven on one battery set. And when I set my SpeedLights to 132 of the power, because that's typically it's my starting point, you can shoot about 2,000 images. And I use those Panasonic N-Loop batteries, which are rechargeable, and I can pretty much just go through, I would say, even 3 sessions. On average, I shoot between 300 to 500 images, and 2,000 images you can shoot literally 4 full sessions on one set of batteries. So the battery and the power, it's not really an issue when it comes to working with SpeedLights. You can easily just do all your shoots all you want. You can do all your session without basically worrying that your batteries, they're gonna just run out of juice. So those are the couple myths which I've heard the most, but as you probably already know, you can really easily overcome them, and they're not really an issue because they pretty much don't exist. So let's discuss what type of speedlights I use and why I've decided to go with them. So I use Nikon speedlights. So I have Nikon SB910, and also I have Nikon SB800. And let's talk a little bit about it, because this is something which is extremely interesting, and then a lot of people kind of get confused about this whole thing. So those lights are about 8 years old. And to be honest with you, I never ever had any issues with them. I never had failure that those lights stopped working during the photo shoot, or they start kind of, I don't know, showing me some errors, or they didn't produce the light what I wanted. I never ever had any issues. They never fail on me. And to be honest, at some point I was thinking to upgrade them to some newer models, but I've decided I'm gonna basically upgrade them when they're gonna fail on me. And they just keep working, they keep producing what I'm looking for, and they pretty much, they don't want to die on me. And what is also fascinating about those speedlights is the fact that I never also replaced the light bulb, whatever it is inside which is producing the light. I've done thousands of sessions with those speedlights, and they keep working. They still produce consistent lighting, they still produce consistent output power. It's pretty amazing for me that after so many years, so many photo shoots, they still perform like they were new. So they're pretty simple. There's no wireless connection with them. I have to set up everything manually, and I have to just work with them a little bit differently. But at the same time, I'm not trying to upgrade them because they still perform well, and I really believe that the less rings and bells those speedlights have, the longer they're gonna last, because as soon as they start kind of pumping into them some electronics and all this, you know, cool stuff, there's much bigger chances that they're gonna, you know, start failing on you. Also, I had one issue one day that I dropped one of those lights and they broke. I sent them to Nikon, and you're not gonna believe, I think I paid about $30 to fix them. So just the fact if something even goes wrong and you break them, you still are able to fix them for really cheap. Even though I think Nikon services, they pretty much very expensive, but I don't even know, they replaced the plastic cover or something, but the guts were still good. They still work till today, 100%. So summarizing everything what I have said, the reason I really like working with speedlights is the fact that they're inexpensive, they're portable, they produce amazing light, and they gave me everything what I need. At the end also, I want to mention that I'm shooting headshots, and I really don't need big lights, and I don't need powerful lights. It's a different story if you're shooting, I don't know, some commercial portraits, or you need much more powerful. Then of course those speedlights, they would not work. But the stuff what I do, they give me more than enough. They pretty much produce the images which I'm looking for. So that's why I've decided to work with them. There's one inconvenience with them, that those speedlights, they don't have modeling light. And I know this is one of the complaints from photographers, that they need modeling light so they can see what's going on. Plus they're gonna get the smaller retinas, and the eyes looks a little bit better when you have modeling light. But also, I'm trying to work around it, so I always have some kind of window behind me. I never shoot in the pitch dark. I don't have studio in the basement, or I don't shoot in some dark locations. I always try to work in the environment where it's fairly bright. I never felt like I really need modeling light. Maybe I was lucky, or I just kind of know how to work around it just to make it work. So this is one of those things which you might have to challenge yourself, and that might be a little bitter thing which you have to overcome. But that's the one thing what I could really think of, what is the limitations of the SpeedLights. But at the same time, I know there are some newer models which already have built-in modeling light. So if you trying to get new SpeedLights, maybe this is something you can look into it, because I know there's a lot of new models which have that built-in, and basically this problem is not going to exist for you. So I hope that was interesting. I hope that gave you a little bit of clearance why I really like to work with SpeedLights. If you have any additional questions or concerns or something which I didn't clarify, please feel free to contact me. I'll be more than happy to discuss those things with you or answer your questions. But I think in general that was the main reasons why I work with them, and I'm not planning to change anything anytime soon. I hope they're gonna fail on me one day. I know this is bad wish and I shouldn't say that, but that's when this is gonna happen. Then I'm gonna upgrade and look for something different. But as for now, I'm still gonna be using them, and we'll see how long they're gonna last. So again, thank you for watching. Stay tuned, and I'll chat with you guys very soon. Bye bye.